Who's wrong and who's wronger? In this corner, followed by millions, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. And in that corner, ignored by millions, Steve Olivas. All right, thank you. Thank you to the one or two of you that stuck around long enough to clap after that intro. Welcome to Wrong and Wronger, and I am Steve Olivas, Dr. Steve, the first psychologist that has tried to diagnose and cure the guy sitting across from me, James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell. How you doing, James?
I'm doing great because you tried and failed.
You've tuned into the podcast where we argue, and we've done a lot of research on the topics that we argue each week.
You're just going to lie to the people? Is that how we're doing this?
Sometimes deciding the topic on the moment, spur of the moment kind of things. But of course, we both have access to computers in front of us, and so our fingers are busy while we are talking. Don't take me out of context with that. Anyway, James Breakwell, the Exploding Unicorn. I don't know if many people know how you got that nickname, the Exploding Unicorn, but you got it because you were actually a hero at Ben Franklin Elementary School in rural Indiana because you could blow things up with M80s, and so the boys used to pay you to go around and grab the girls' stuffed animals and blow them up in the schoolyard. And one day, little girl had a unicorn stuffed animal, and you took that thing out with the wrath of God, and the nickname stuck.
Is this the nice thing about me, the origin story where I'm a serial killer? Compliment taken, I think.
I was going to say, James, whose superpower is turning stomachs in a single noun, and that is unicorn, but I thought, we'll shelve that one and use it some other time. But now I can't. I burned it up.
You just wasted it. You burned too, man. You
yes.
have that many in reserve? I don't think you do.
You're like a Bond villain now. That's the backstory.
Well, my nice thing about you to say today is not a lot of people know this, but you are renowned beyond the other things I say every week that have promptly forgotten. You are also renowned for your restaurant placemat art. You know, they put those 3 crayons down for small children, and that is right in your target demographic, and you've really produced some masterpieces with those.
I don't mean to brag, but if I don't actually eat the crayons, because they look tasty, all those colors, and they got that waxy texture, they're like jelly beans that can color. But yeah, I'm sort of the Rembrandt of the placemat, is what they've called me throughout a lot of my still life art phase. And then I went through a bit of a blue phase until I started going to restaurants, and they don't have blue crayons, so I had to change that up quickly. And now I usually do nature scenes, mostly nudes, people not wearing pants like me today, sitting across from you.
You were so scarred by the one time you forgot to mention that. You will never forget again.
I could not live with myself. I flogged a big N in my chest like the priest in Scarlet Letter that stood for nude. Actually, I'm not nude. I'm wearing underpants, but I should have gone with P. I see. You got me all flustered talking about this, forgetting to mention I was without pants, and now the whole motor cortex going from Broca's area to Wernicke's area to my mouth is not working correctly.
It's never been working. It's all right. Thankfully, you're better at placemats than you are at podcasts.
Well, that was very kind of you to bring up. Not a lot of people know that. That is true. All right, and this week we're going to let the Guam quarterface. Speaking of doing a lot of research, a lot of backstory, a lot of coming up with our positions, and we have to prepare both sides of an argument that we almost never know until we're just about to record. What is the argument going to be today?
Superman versus Batman, which is better?
Superman and Batman. We are going to get our nerd on today. And the funny thing is, for James being an English literature major in I don't remember what it was.
English creative writing. I don't read books.
I know, that gets you the chicks. But James, not a nerd, and me, considering how smart I am, just the elevation of my IQ, I'm not that much of a nerd. So this is going to be a debate that shall be interesting for us to navigate.
Yeah, we will be just as uninformed as always, so I think we'll be okay.
All right, so the Guam Quarter of Fate. We've got Guam on the tail side and George Washington on the heads. What will those represent, James?
All right, so heads is Batman for me, tails is Superman for me.
All right, heads is Batman. We'll call it that cod piece. And the quarter of fate is up. Oh, I caught it that time. I shouldn't sound that excited, should I?
It's never going to happen again. Go ahead and enjoy your moment.
All right, I got Guam. We've got tails. And that means
right,
that
so
you,
I
sir,
am
are arguing
Superman.
Superman.
I'm arguing Superman. Well, that's pretty easy because Superman is the greatest, I was going to say human being, but he's not a human being. He's the greatest person on Earth ever to live. I mean, he's basically invincible. There's one tiny element, kryptonite, that stops him. And beyond that, he's just this invincible tank. And he goes and he uses his power for good. Like, if I was an unstoppable, unkillable machine, I would pretty much just take over the world. I would be the villain. I would not be a mild-mannered journalist and go around secretly helping people. I would use my position for gain. I would use it for power. And also, as a former reporter, he picked the worst job in the world.
I did not know that about you.
He could have picked to be a janitor and been better. Man, journalism, it's thankless, it's hard, it pays nothing. So he chooses poverty because he's that good of a person. He doesn't seize power, and he just sticks around to stop these handful of bad guys who also have, crazy super schemes. I mean, and he's just so much better than Batman. There's no competition.
Well, maybe, as far as just like bench press goes, but when it comes to winning, I'm just going to spin you back about 8 months to Batman versus Superman that came out. Actually, this is about 13, 14 months ago. It was last
Did you
summer.
actually watch that movie? I heard it was one of the worst movies ever made.
One of the best movies ever made, Batman versus Superman. And it spawned Wonder Woman, came out of that. And Wonder Woman, another good superhero movie. But who won in that showdown, Batman versus Superman? I'm not going to put you on the spot because I'm not like you.
I read about it. It was so bad. I read about it because I thought it was funny. And I think Superman died, but then he came back to life. There have been 1 million Superman dies episodes, and they're still making Superman comics because he keeps coming back from to life, man. He's unstoppable.
All right, he is the Lazarus of superheroes, and I don't remember Lazarus kicking any ass in the Bible. Like, that doesn't necessarily make you great.
Yeah, Lazarus he died again, though. Like, it's not like Lazarus is still around today. How great of a superpower is that? You come back for a couple of years and die again? Superman's still here. Totally different.
Batman got his back broken by Bane, and try saying that alliteration without a pop filter, and he came back from that all within the same show. Like, Superman died is all you need to know about Superman.
Isn't Batman versus Superman? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but to even fight Superman, didn't Batman have to get in some ridiculous super suit, which he's never used before in any other part of the Batman universe?
First of all, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. And second of all, two words, Wonder Woman, came out of that. And that...
I'm going to assume I'm right on that. And also, they always plug in the extra superhero on there. Like, I have no idea who all these superheroes are. I also don't know why Batman and Superman are the two who get pitted together when there's like 1 trillion superheroes at this point. But that's the showdown. And it's an odd showdown because one is an unstoppable, invincible machine, and one is a rich guy with too much time in his hands. It's like, what could he use all that money for? Like, he could go and save Gotham City. He could institute social programs. He could fund better schools. He could provide lunches to kids. He could solve poverty and hunger and homelessness. And what does he do? He puts on a dark suit and punches people. This is some sick, like, sexual fantasy of his or something. Like, why?
Wow,
he could go and fund 1,000 more police officers with his fortune. But what does he do? He goes and he kicks and punches people with his own bare hands.
The police
it doesn't make any sense. He just uses his rich guy means and his love for violence to do things that he doesn't need to do at all. And
listen, go, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, would these other supervillains who are fighting Batman, like, even be there if Batman wasn't there? Like, well, this is the city where the guy in the bat suit runs around kicking and punching people. I guess if I want attention, I better dress up ridiculously too. Whereas let's say Batman's just like, you know what, today I'm going to fund 100 more police officers. Like maybe we don't have the Joker. Maybe we don't have Penguin. Maybe we just have a normal civilized society. I think Batman is the problem, and you don't run into that with Superman.
Well, Batman has gone through dark periods in his life, and he's come out of it better off. And being a therapist, I can say usually people are better connected with other people if they have something painful in their past. And Clark Kent, Superman, what do they got? Superman, he got all the chicks. He was probably the quarterback on the football team.
Are you seriously asking what his tragic backstory is? The genocide of his entire people, his planet blew up. So Batman's, boo-hoo, poor me. My parents died.
My parents died in front of me when I was in my early childhood. Superman was an infant when that happened. It's all a legend to him.
Not just his friends, not just his family, not his extended family, not his cousin. Everyone, every single member of his species died. He is the sole survivor. How is that not more traumatic than, oh, my parents died and gave me all of their vast fortune?
Oh, great-great-great-grandpa Breakwell probably died in some kind of farming-related accident. Do you still feel that deep in your soul? No!
But he didn't give birth to me. Superman's parents are dead, too, and he never whines about it. Not one time. Not once.
Not one. He goes to his fortress of solitude at the North Pole and whines.
That's what he should do. He should go by himself if he does it. He shouldn't be not Batman. I'm dark and broody. Everybody look at me. I'm in the shadows. He dresses up like a freaking bat.
All right. As long as we're going after uniform, let me say this. Arch-villain-wise, Superman's is Lex Luthor, and the guy went bald when he was like 14 years old. Batman's is the Joker, and he has a cool, flowing head of hair. He's one awesome dude.
He literally fights a clown. You're battling Ronald McDonald out there acting like he's some hero. I mean, all of his. Okay, so Superman fights a genius, and Batman fights somebody who's mentally deranged. Like, he can't defeat somebody who's clinically ill. This is not a super genius. This is a guy with a serious disability, and Batman only goal is not to get him help, but to go to punch him some. He never kills anybody. Just go punch him some, and then Joker will go kill more people.
Did you just punch your hand to demonstrate what you were saying?
Yes, I'm so fired up right now. I'm glad my mic has that good a sound quality.
Man, you want to talk about deranged? Are you even sitting down while we're talking about this?
I am sitting up here throwing air punches right now. I am so ready to go, man.
It's like Batman Rocky Balboa in a meat locker right now. Yeah, Batman's got the coolest villain in the history of villains with the Joker. That is just top-notch.
What is so great about the Joker? Explain it to me. Explain it.
Because the Joker is genius in his madness, and that was brilliant. Whoever wrote the Joker, not the original Sid Caesar Joker, that was cartoonish. But once you got into the Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and now Jared Leto Jokers, that fine line is a razor's edge between genius and madness, and I like good writing and good characters. Lex Luthor, what has he got? Nobody knows what he's like because every Superman incarnation, I don't even know what to call these. Incantation? No, that's what you do in hypnosis, which is obviously what someone did to you to argue for Superman here. But Superman, every time Superman gets reprised on the big screen, it fails because people don't like Superman. If somebody is infallible, nobody relates to him.
He's too good, but you know what? He's interesting on his own. Like, that's the problem with Batman. The villains are more interesting than the hero. You're out there rooting for the Joker because Batman sucks. Like, oh, Batman, he's so tortured. His parents died. Guess what? Eventually, everybody's parents die. This is an experience we all go through, but most of us don't put on a bat suit and spend our lives punching people because of it. Also, Superman had that one scene in one of his movies where somebody shoots him in the eye with a gun, and the bullet bounces off of his eyeball. You cannot tell me that was not an amazing scene.
You know, Superman in one of his other movies ran backwards around the Earth so fast it spun time backwards, and that's where he jumped the shark.
Yeah, but they all jump the shark. You want to talk about jumping the shark? Batman literally used to jump the shark. Like the whole, what was the old Batman, the TV Batman.
Yes, you are correct.
They're my favorite one. And for the longest time, I could not tell if this was serious or tongue-in-cheek or what. But there was one, him and Batman Batman and Robin
Yeah.
were tied to a buoy,
Yeah.
and somebody launches a torpedo at them because that's the most efficient way to kill them, apparently. And next scene, Batman and Robin are calmly driving away their boat. And they go, boy, it sure was nice of that manatee to jump in front of that torpedo and save us. This children's-friendly Batman show just slaughtered a manatee to cover up a pothole. And this is your hero? This is the savior of the people?
That wasn't real Batman. If you were into Batman comic books, you realize.
Choose. It's all Batman.
Let me argue for 1 minute on your side, because you buried the lead on the funniest part of that scene, which was Batman did not get attacked by the shark because they had shark repellent on them, which was in an aerosol spray can.
I've seen like 2 episodes of Batman ever. It was I was traumatized. I was just traumatized Batman watching his parents get killed.
I didn't realize you were such a fan of the manatees.
It was just the most bizarre way to cover up. I mean, like, I'm not going to say I'm the best writer in the world, but like, I've got to think there's easier ways to resolve this issue than, a manatee jumps in. It'd be one thing if this wasn't the Deus Ex Machina. If earlier in the episode they'd been like playing with manatees and built up a friendship and training them, and then the beloved manatee sacrificed himself. You know what? Fine, let's have a manatee-centric episode. If you have the first and only manatee on Batman dive in there, yeah, I'm going to have a problem with it.
If you're going after bad writing from the 60s and 70s, the argument starts and stops with H.R. Pufnstuf and Sid and Marty Krofft. I'm sorry.
Did they make Superman?
I'm bringing up things that it's like I'm speaking another language to you right now.
It really is.
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, does that do any? Far Out Space Nuts? Lidsville?
No,
Nothing?
I don't.
Nothing.
I'm not going to Google this stuff either. You're leading me down a trap again. I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to assume you're making this up. This is the part of every show where you just start babbling words because you know I have no frame of reference with things that happened before, 1940 or whatever you were born.
That's right. It was just me, and I had a stick with a can and a bicycle with a huge front wheel and a little back wheel.
Yes, and that's why you enjoy Batman so much. Your childhood was so deprived of entertainment that this bat came on who was fighting a clown. You're like, why didn't I think of that?
All right. Well, tell us what you think. We got to go. I got to cut you off because I don't know that this is going to go anywhere productive from here. I think you're just completely out of gas at this point. You're coasting to a stop.
I'm never out of gas. I can argue for an infinite amount of time because right is on my side.
Well, you go beat the crap out of your left hand some more, and don't take me out of context with that one either. I'm going to run this thing.
This is no longer a family-friendly show.
Why? I can't believe I still talk to you after all that we've been through.
You keep disturbing these podcasts. I think you're just a glutton for punishment. You're just like Batman. You just want to get beat up because you hate yourself.
My mother calls and says, "How did I raise you that you're doing this podcast with this guy?" That's a quote, or something like that. All right, well, tell us what you think, America and worldwide. You can get in touch with us on social media, and James makes sure to respond to all of his fan mail one piece at a time, and he will write you a tome because he was a creative writing major, and so expect long and heartfelt, semi-rambling manifestos from him. You can get in touch with him on Twitter. Actually, all of you already follow him on Twitter. He's at Exploding Unicorn with a giant X, and on Facebook. Join his fan page. Like a lot of his stuff there, too. He's at Exploding Unicorn, spelled like Noah Webster has it. Or follow me if you want to follow someone real with a little bit of grit and a sense of humor that's not born of a can.
There's the joke right there.
I'm at Steve Olivas. Olivas is Olivas, and it's pronounced what the girls started yelling at me in middle school. Olivas alone. Until next week, where we pop the top on another doozy. And next week, man, James, I can't wait to hear what you've got cooking for us next week. What's it going to be?
No idea.
That's probably what we're going to get when we start next week also. Until then, this is Steve Olivas for James the Exploding Unicorn Breakwell saying thanks for listening, everybody.